Hi Mum, you do everything for everyone else. Let me help you make your life easier. Quick, short information to make you empowered and remind you why you are so important. Because if you don't know what's on the menu, how can you choose what's right for you? Hi, I'm Alina, Director of my private practice Supportive Therapy, an everyday Aussie mum trying not to lose my biscuits at my kids. As a mental health professional, I'm here to share my secrets so no other mother feels alone or powerless. Knowledge is power, and I want you to be powerful. Think of it like I'm your mindset coach through all of this. Everything is backed by science and psychology. I believe in you, and I want you to be the best version of yourself. To be happy and to feel in control, you need to be mentally strong. Hi everyone, welcome to Mentally Strong Mums. My name is Alina Bishop, and in this episode I want to be able to talk about safety plans. Now, I don't know if you've heard of a safety plan. It can be used in a lot of different forms. So if you're in a domestic violence situation, you can have a safety plan that's specific to that situation. If there are issues of self-harm, you can have a safety plan that's specific to that situation. If there's suicidal ideations, there's also a safety plan that you can put in place for that as well. Sometimes mums, when we have a lot on our shoulders, we're alone or isolated, we don't have a lot of help. Sometimes we also need a safety plan for ourselves, just to remind. And there's also a safety plan, which is also a wellbeing safety plan. So when we talk about safety plans, it's essentially understanding who we are, what situation we are in, what resources we have to be able to depend upon. Also understanding signs and signals. So sometimes mums, a lot of the time, it feels like we're in a tunnel and we have to keep on going and keep on going and keep on going. And things that are potentially obvious to other people aren't obvious to us because we're in the tunnel and you're just trying to make it through every single day. So sometimes when you can have some form of a safety plan or a wellness plan, you're then able to understand the signs and signals about what's happening. So it's very important, especially for mums, when we're overwhelmed, when we're struggling to balance everything, when our mental health is not as good as what it should be, then there's signs. So even for myself, I know that I can't be bothered doing anything. So I don't exercise, I lay down. I've also got a lot of chronic fatigue. So even for that then exacerbates. And then because I feel like I'm so physically heavy, sometimes I describe it like feeling like mud. That's then a sign for me that something has to change, or this is like warning signs essentially, like what does this feel like? So it's important for us to understand that we can be going along and going along and going along. And then once these warning signs start to hop in, I don't see my friends anymore. I can't be bothered to reply back. I can't be bothered with the kids anymore. I don't eat the way that I should be. Potentially drinking a bit more than what you should as a coping mechanism, not exercising, that doom scrolling that mums generally do at night time where everyone else is asleep and mum's still on her phone scrolling, because it feels like that's the only window of time that I can have peace and alone time that no one, right? So whatever it looks like for you, that would then be put in your wellness plan or your safety plan so that you can then stay on track, right? So you want to be able to be more proactive before you hit the crisis points. And that's what these are for. So sometimes you can just be going along, as I said, through that tunnel, and next minute you've kind of woken up and you've realized, I'm living life at the moment I'm not happy. Full stop. I'm not happy. And then that then goes into crisis, because mums are the most important in the house. The energy of the mum in the house is the energy of everyone else. The way that you self-soothe and regulate yourself then dictates the ability for you to do that for your offspring, right? And if you've got nothing in the tank and you can't do that for yourself and you're a crisis point, these are really amazing tools that you can be able to have as well. So we're looking at this not with judgment, but what the reality can look like for a lot of people. So especially if you mix in, if you have potentially bipolar, if you have borderline personality disorder, if you've got heightened sense of anxiety, if you're neurodiverse. So neurodiverse can include ADD, ADHD, OCD tendencies, oppositional defiance tendencies, which I just did an episode on as well. That means that these additional mental health situations, life is harder for you. You have to work harder than people that don't have these additional extras in their life. So these safety plans, or to prevent the crisis point, for you to be able to understand what your body is going through, what your signs and signals are, what you need, what's available for you realistically, as well as also understanding what you need to be able to get out of the mud or get through the other end of the tunnel. So safety plans are an essential tool for people in crisis. They can be used in mental health settings to prevent harmful behaviours, as well as those self-sabotaging behaviours as well. So if you're able to make a really well-constructed safety plan, it essentially serves as that roadmap to be able to navigate overwhelming emotions, to be able to regain control or the illusion of control or a sense of control back in your own life, especially as the mum with everything you have to juggle. So I will have a template that I will be able to upload. So I might put that on my Instagram page. That would be really lovely one to use, and I'll use a wellness one. If you use ChatGPT, you can use prompts to be able to ask it to make one for you. You can have a conversation about what that looks like in your specific situation. So if you have certain diagnoses that I previously mentioned, like neurodiverse or bipolar, or whatever that looks like, you can also add that in so it can help you with that as well. There are also amazing apps that can help you as well with all of this, but we're going to go through this, right? So there's so much research as well that if you can identify physical and emotional cues early, so physical and emotional cues look like physical cues, I feel like mud, and emotional cues are I feel dull, I can't be bothered, I just want to numb out. So sometimes people want to numb out, looks like alcohol, looks like scrolling, looks like THC or smoking or whatever that kind of looks like, right? When you have interoception, so you're able to look inward about the awareness of your internal body signals. So if you can learn and develop interoception, INTROCEPTION, interoception, this then gives you an advantage because you're able to identify early signs of stress or tension. And even for myself, with all the research, education, blah, blah, blah that I have, we're still human, and it's inevitable we're going to go through these. It also can be good to plot in some way on a calendar or an app when this happens more often. Does this align with when I have, when I'm menstruating? Does it happen regularly every 6 months? Does it happen at certain times of the year, like at Christmas or whatever that is? So at least if you can also, if I work full time, is there a really stressful situation coming up? Then potentially I need to be able to mentally prepare for all of that as well. So if you can have that interoception to know what's happening with you and what's going on with your body, as well as that growth mindset. So growth mindset was originally coined by a psychologist, Carol Dweck. So I think I've done an episode on growth mindset and what that actually looks like. And it's learned optimism, and you're learning to grow and evolve. We don't want to be stagnant, okay? So that has a flow-on effect of resilience because it helps you see the challenges and opportunities for growth rather than obstacles that you can't overcome. So even from my own perspective, understanding that these inevitable challenges, my health challenges, sometimes your relationship challenges, golly gosh, and sometimes your child challenges, if they're all whatever that looks like. If you're able to, instead of getting bogged down by all of that, be able to see these as growth opportunities, normalize what you're going through, give yourself some compassion, that introspection to look inward. What's happening with me? What are my body's signs and signals? Physical, emotional, behavioral, to be able to kind of move forward. So, as I said, self-awareness is definitely the first step. So it's the key element in emotional regulation to understand what's happening. Geez, I haven't spoken to any of my friends for about 2 months now. I'm now in a cycle where I can't be bothered doing anything. I used to go for walks every afternoon and now I can't be bothered for whatever. There's also things like seasonal depression. So sometimes if we're in the middle of winter, it's too cold, it's too much. So sometimes that can be an additional obstacle. So if you were going to be doing some kind of wellness plan, you'd be plotting in, sometimes in winter, the days are shorter, it's a lot colder, I don't do very well, my body wants to hibernate, and then I have seasonal depression, which then has that negative impact on mental health. So it's just normalizing and understanding what's going on, right? Sometimes if we have a look at introspection to look at yourself and what's going on, sometimes your heart rate might be increasing. So sometimes you notice your heart a lot more than what you normally would. So that's also a signal for you. Maybe that's anxiety, maybe that's stress, right? That's a common cue. So you don't look at it as a judgment, you look at it as a cue to help you understand what's going on and what your body is trying to tell you to be able to try and adjust about your life, right? Another one is muscle tension. So sometimes even when clients come in here and we'll do a session or whatever that is, and at the end they'll go, I didn't realize, but I was freaking out and I was tense the whole entire time and now it's over. I've realized how tense I was. So understanding, I've got an episode on progressive muscle relaxation. That's a nice one to get in because sometimes we don't even realize how tense we are all the time, which will then contribute to headaches, that jaw pain, the TMJ stuff, clenched jaw, all of that muscle tension, right? Sometimes breathing patterns. So shallow breathing where you're barely breathing at all, or sometimes that rapid breathing. So we need to be able to understand, and they also say breathing from the chest is anxiety, breathing out your tummy is where you're meant to be breathing, that gets the diaphragm. And when the diaphragm is constricted because you're bending over or you're depressed or whatever that is because you're not upright, that then constricts the diaphragm, therefore it doesn't push blood around your body. And if you talk to a chiropractor, my chiropractor lectures me about that all the time, that you've got to be able to keep your shoulders back to be able to get air in your diaphragm to breathe from your tummy. That will then produce oxygen in your body, which will then reduce the physiological symptoms of depression, that parasympathetic pause in your nervous system, all right? Negative thought loops, ruminating over and over and over and over and over again, the same thing, right? Catastrophizing, or just that black and white thinking, or the same scenario over and over again. I'm completely alone. No one's ever here for me. No one actually understands what I'm going about. When I try and open up to people, they don't get it and they just make it about them. Do you know? So sometimes when we get on those thought loops, that's also a huge trigger. So how can we be able to break all of that kind of stuff? But we don't, you've got to understand it first and what's happening with you, to look at it with curiosity as opposed to go straight to that problem solving mode, because you've got to start understanding what's going on for you. Maybe you actually should just hire someone or a counselor just to talk to them about something, right? And then when it comes to that emotional cues, like that emotional fatigue, when you feel alone and disconnected and unmotivated, you're really easily irritable, right? Sometimes these are also little signs of burnout. Like, are you burnout? Am I done? I can't be bothered anymore. And there's not a lot of things that actually fill my cup. And I can't even be bothered filling my cup because what's the point? It always goes empty anyways. Do you know what I mean? So once we can kind of understand that first step about one, recognizing the mental and physical cues, we're able to then go on to the next step, which is number 2, developing your own wellness plan or your own safety plan, right? So then if you can identify your personal cues and what's common for you, what are your bad habits, what mentally happens, what physically happens, what emotionally happens, right? What are your little crisis signs that you're not doing really well at the moment, right? So then you can then build a plan yourself. So you can either have a look at my guide on Instagram, or you can ask something like ChatGPT. You can even Google it to see what other templates are there. You can write it by hand and then you can amend things as you do it. You can even write it in your notes in your phone so that you can then duplicate it or whatever that is, or even finding an app if you type in safety plan or wellness plan to see if there's any free apps to be able to have a starting point. So when you can build the plan, it's like a pre-crisis action steps, because it's better to be proactive than try to combat everything once it's too late, because it's going to take you a lot longer to get out of the mud, right? And we've all been there. So what are you calming or your grounding strategies when you first notice these cues? So do you do grounding exercises? Do you know what they are? Do you do breathing techniques? Have you got a breathing app? Breathwork app, Alina, right? Do you do things like the muscle relaxation? Do you then just put in some headphones and put on some music that just kind of makes you happy so you can just come back to where you are? Do you need a cup of tea and then go and just, or a cup of coffee, and then just go and sit in the sun for a minute, right? And just take a breather. What does that actually look like for you? What are things that you do that you actually enjoy? Is it talking to someone like your mum or a friend or whatever that looks like? What are these little cues? What are things that you can do on your own? And then what are things that you can do with other people? Because a lot of this stuff as well with your action plan is understanding, are you able to do this on your own and trust and rely on yourself? Or do you, so that's almost internal validation, or do you constantly rely on other people to be able to do that for you? So if other people are too busy and they can't be bothered or they don't know how to do it, you're looking for that external validation, but because they're unable to give it to you, you then can't give it to you, but they're negative or disconnected or dismissive or invalidating, then makes me go deeper in my hole. So that's actually a really huge starting point for all of this as well. Do I have enough self-worth and self-love and self-respect to be able to know what I need and give myself permission for internal validation, internal me validation, as opposed to constantly seeking external validation and expecting other people to make me feel good or other people to bring me out of this? Why can't I do that myself, right? So when it comes to those support systems, who are these people that can reach out if you're looking for that validation, right? Sorry, I've got a cough. So also, what are your positive affirmations? What are your positive statements? I'm safe in this moment. This is only temporary. What are your compassionate statements? I'm doing the best that I can. I will try again tomorrow. Everything works out for me. Doing things that are really good and relevant for you that you actually believe, okay? This feeling is only temporary. I can handle whatever's ahead of me. I've got this, all right? I'll try again tomorrow. You've got to be able to put in these statements for your own self-talk, for your own validation, to talk to yourself like a best friend, so that you're starting to give yourself a bit of a break as opposed to being so hard on yourself, right? And then we're able to integrate that growth mindset. So understanding, what is this teaching me? Well, this is a common thing that happens at the end of the year. So this is normal for me. How can I then manage this? What do I actually need, right? How to help you get resilience and determination so that you can bounce back quicker after all of these setbacks, right? Step number 3 is to be able to then translate this safety plan into your everyday life. So how am I feeling mentally and physically right now? So maybe breakfast, lunch and dinner. You can have a check-in with yourself. Do you know breakfast? How are you feeling when you wake up? Lunch. How? So they call that almost habit stacking. These are existing habits you have, breakfast, lunch and dinner. So you just stack a habit that you want to on your existing habits. So if you want to do check-ins, do the check-ins in existing habits. So when you wake up, how am I feeling? Do a body scan. What are you noticing? Geez, I've got a cracked neck because I didn't sleep well and now I'm cranky and this coffee isn't going to cut it. So then that's a good cue for you to go, well, maybe I need to do some light stretches, or I need to have a nice shower, or whatever that looks like to be able to get back. How am I feeling at lunch? I'm feeling like I'm having a bit of a crash. Maybe I need some sugar. Maybe I need some fresh air. Maybe I'm actually dehydrated. Maybe I need some hydrolyte, whatever that looks like. And then the same thing at dinner. What does that look like? Especially in a lot of household, dinner time is crazy hour when you've got kids, especially young kids. So sometimes as well, what can I put in new routines or new habits in the house at crazy time so that we can all be able to be there, right? So understanding your positive physical cues as well. So feeling relaxed, that's good. I feel like I'm good at the moment, right? Being able, sometimes when I check in with myself, I always feel it's negative. It's nice to be able to check in with yourself occasionally and go, oh, I'm relaxed. That hasn't happened for a long time. That's evidence that I'm getting self-worth to move through this. That's evidence that I'm coming out the other side of the tunnel. Do you know what I mean? So sometimes it's really nice to be able to see, my jaw doesn't feel as clenchy and sore as what it would, right? So do you have daily empowerment rituals? I know we've got a lot and we put a lot in and there's not a lot of time left, right? But maybe that habit stacking while you're in the shower, a 5-minute while you're in the shower, have a little bit of gratitude. Thank you so much for my running water. Thank you so much for making me clean. Thank you so much for my kids. Whatever your gratitude is. Thank you. I woke up today. I'm winning. What's your little gratitude? How can you kind of put these little daily empowerment rituals and just kind of plot them in? Because it's interesting, when you start doing this, you feel good. And then because you think you feel good, you don't need to do them anymore. And then when you stop doing them, that's when everything goes down. So it's about that consistency, right? So it's also with those little mini breaks when you feel a lot. So sometimes the only mini break mums get is when we go to the toilet or the bathroom. So maybe when you do that, you go to the bathroom and then when you're washing your hands, have a little mini break, have a little breath or whatever that is. I know that might sound disgusting for a lot of people, but for the reality of mums, literally, that's the only break that we get, because it's go from the time you open your eyes in the morning, even when you wake up before the kids, all day long, you just hustle, keep on going, you don't stop until they're in bed. So if that's your reality, which it's mine at the moment, it's nice to be able to find little windows of time where you can have a mini break and reground or whatever that is, right? Instead of feeling heavy and it's too much and I'm trapped and I don't have any autonomy or freedom or agency, how are you able to then reframe these challenges all these obstacles or situations as opportunities in some way. So some people say, well, that sounds like toxic positivity because you just, it's not. It's understanding what things you have control over and what things you don't. And the things that you don't have control over, why are you doing them? How are they serving you in your life? How are you able to mix things up in a way? Do you know? So it's just about looking at yourself with curiosity and what's going on. So safety plans are very important, whether it's a wellbeing safety plan, a DV safety plan, suicide safety plan, a self-harm safety plan. Any of these are very, very important because they help you understand signs and signals and cues of when things aren't going so well, and then understanding what resources you have to be able to get you through them, whether it be yourself or other people. It's about learning self-awareness and what you need, and especially as mums, sometimes we're just always in that tunnel and it's very difficult. It's also nice if you can learn about these safety plans and potentially you've got teenage kids or young adults. It's nice to be able to then have this conversation with them. So even if you had your own safety plan and you printed it out or you wrote it out and then you left it intentionally on the kitchen, and then the kid's like, what's that? And you're like, well, that's my safety plan. And they're like, what is a safety plan? What do you need that for? So then it starts a discussion, normalizes you and what you go through, so you don't have to feel like they can never come to you because they can't be vulnerable with you because they don't think you understand what they're going through because you never show any of this stuff, right? Your kids aren't meant to be your own counselors and you're not meant to lean on your kids that way. But it is nice to be able to have that subtle education to open and engage conversations with them. But if you don't even know these things yourself, you then can't even have that conversation with them, do you know? And especially teenagers in this day and age with all the resources they have and social media and all of that, a lot of them are a lot more advanced than what we are. So sometimes even they know things that we don't know. So it's nice for us to be inspired or empowered to learn this, to have these conversations. You don't have to go into depth about what you're going through if that's too much or too painful or you don't want to put that burden on them. But it is nice to be able to say that we all struggle. We all have bad days. But how do we get through these days? We never give up. We keep on going. So I also did that episode on generational legacy that falls into this category as well, which is very, very important. Okay? So you are beautiful, mums. This is only temporary. If it's a bad day for you, it's okay. Just sit in the bad day and we'll try again tomorrow. Sometimes you'll be an A+ mum. Sometimes you'll feel like an F- mum. Do you know? But so long as I get up every single day the next day and I try and I take accountability, and if I've done the wrong thing to my kids or to my hubby or to my friends or whatever it is, I take accountability. I'm really sorry. I'm just going through something at the moment. I've got my safety plan. I'm trying to figure everything out. All right? Beautiful mums. I love you so much, and thank you so much for your patience with me through this episode. I know it was triggering. So if it is obviously triggering because of all the different language that I used, please do some self-care. Search back through my progressive muscle relaxation and take some time for you in this moment. Even listen to some music that makes you happy in some way, or if it's food that gives you a bit of comfort, or go for a walk or a movement, some breath work, anything. All right? Have a great day. Bye. Thank you. If you are hearing this message, you've listened to the entire episode, and for that, I want to thank you for your support. It takes me hours to research and create this for you, so I genuinely hope you enjoyed it and felt more mentally strong. If you have any suggestions or improvements, let me know, because I'm always open for criticisms. If you have found my information useful, please leave a review and subscribe. So by leaving a review, it's a value exchange. It's good karma. I value your support just as much as you value my free information. So find me on Instagram and Facebook by searching Mentally Strong Mums, and I'm Aussie, so it's spelled MUM. And then you can find heaps of resources on www.mentallystrongmums.com. And this podcast is for you, so let me know what topics you would like to see covered in future episodes. And if yourself is a professional that is working with mums and would like to be a guest to help other mums be mentally strong, I would love to support you. So message me on Instagram on Mentally Strong Mums, MUMS, all one word. Thank you so much for your time. Have a wonderful day, you beautiful mum.